Okay, I would like to introduce Mark Bragaw of McLean Mortgage, who we're going to talk to today. He's been kind enough to share his story about what he's doing, and we're going to have a good time and talk about some things that he's accomplished in the mortgage market. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about your role as you do it.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Happy to be with you today. And yeah, so I am a mortgage loan originator. I focus primarily on residential real estate and helping my clients buy maybe their first home or multiple homes or investment properties, any type of property. Um, Basically, I help them secure their mortgages, and I'm supported by 3 team members: my wife, Carrie, and also my loan officer assistant, Bahari, and my production manager, John Mukai.
Awesome.
And the 4 of us together help make all this happen.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Tell me a little bit. You've gone through a variety of evolutions as you've gone through this. Starting from the beginning, what was your first evolution of your role doing this?
Yeah, well, I started back in the industry in 2004 and actually started with a small broker in Chantilly. And fortunately, that great mentor, she helped me cut my teeth in this industry, helped me grow my initial business, learn about what I was doing, and just basically getting my business started. Now, this, of course, comes up to now, fast forwarding to 2007, before the market crash, the mortgage meltdown in 2008 that everybody is remembering, I'm sure not so fondly, but up to that point, started feeling a shift in the market. So business was becoming harder, was harder to come by, I should say, from the broker standpoint. I saw a lot of people, kind of a flight to safety in the larger banks. So I made my first transition from the brokerage to SunTrust Mortgage, a direct lender. Much for the security of the banking environment, because the brokerages were starting to get a really bad reputation, and it was more difficult to get loans through. So that was the first transition. That was in 2007. Then 2008 happened. Even though I was with this large bank, everything shut down in our industry. So it was touch and go there for a bit, especially in 2008 and into 2009. However, again, very supportive environment, very supportive manager, helped muscle through that. And then all of a sudden, rates started to drop. So 2009 happened and business volume started to pick up. So now transitioning from broker to direct lender, I now found myself needing more help. So the next transition was actually hiring an assistant, which happened to be my wife back in 2008 and, or excuse me, 2009. And then we started working together. Now, really important to note from that, I was probably in 2008, I think I closed 40 loans, about 12 million in sales. The year following, in 2009, after hiring my first assistant, that jumped to 96 units, 96 loans, and almost 30 million in sales. So it was obviously this is a direct correlation for me. The time that was freed up, the ability to generate more business by having an extra set of hands was a direct benefit. So those are the earlier transitions in my career as I started to grow my business.
Awesome. So as you learned from that, what happened after that? What did you do that allowed you to just blow that up?
Well, the biggest adjustment for me was going from a me business to a we business. So, being kind of a control freak, having basically starting everything from my business, I had grown it from over the last few years, and I did everything from the initial application all the way to closing. I did everything in between. I controlled everything. I ran everything. I did everything. So now that I had somebody that I had hired to do this for me, I had a surprisingly difficult time letting go of some of that control, some of these tasks that I'd become so accustomed to doing because I wanted it done my way and I felt that was the best way. So as I started letting some of this stuff go little by little, I realized how much time was freed up, and more importantly, how much I really didn't like doing that stuff anyway. So but just leaving these little responsibilities, these little tasks that were just, time sucks throughout the day, allowed me to get out and generate more business. And like I said, right away, we saw the benefits of that. And again, fortunate timing in the market too, as the rates are dropping, all these things kind of coalesce and we have an immediate growth in sales. But that was probably the biggest challenge. I did not really expect to have, I thought it'd be easier to let some tasks go, but I found it actually pretty challenging.
I'll bet. Yeah. Tell me about that challenging. That's an interesting aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to control. I think a lot of us who run our own businesses, I'd say we're control freaks, but obviously we are responsible for everything that happens. Ultimately, the buck stops with us. So it's important that, especially as I was growing my business and building my reputation in the market, that I wanted things done a certain way to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward, looking the best to our clients and making sure they had, most importantly, the best experience. Allowing other people's feedback in on that was important. But obviously it's your baby, you're very protective of it and protective of any changes that may come. So that's kind of where that struggle was coming from, I should say. But once I recognized that the person I hired to put in place, of course, my wife, which I don't trust anybody more than her. So it was kind of relating, also having that trust in that relationship to allow her to take on tasks that I know that she was very capable of handling, as well as I would, if not even better, because of her unique gifts. And allowed me to use mine to go out and grow the business more, while I had somebody basically watching the shop back home that was obviously very, very capable of doing that.
Yeah. Now you hit a capacity limit even then, but you've been able to blow that away since then. What happened after that?
Yeah. So similar to my transition from the brokerage to SunTrust, with the regulations that came down, compliance primarily after the mortgage meltdown 2008, we started to see these large lenders really getting bogged down in the process. They were almost frozen by the inability they didn't want to make any more mistakes, let's just say that. So anyway, underwriting loans became very, very challenging. So again, here we are at this crossroads where my business is growing, but now I'm seeing the company I'm working for is limiting the growth because of their ability to turn the product, to actually get loans closed. So we made another leap of faith at that point to leave SunTrust and come to McLean Mortgage, where I've been since 2011. So that was a big transition, recognizing that now our growth was stymied. We had to get ourselves into a different position. Now, that transition to McLean Mortgage was pretty seamless. We had that time frame, I say the next 3 or 4 years, saw a lot of up and down. I was leaving SunTrust, my sales were right around 30 million a year. I was probably doing close to 100 units a year. Took a little dip 2014, 2015 as we transitioned to this new job. Also, as the market shifted, I saw the numbers dropping. 2016, they went back up. 2017, they went back down. So it was one of those, the numbers were not consistent anymore, and something had to change. So after talking to my manager, Mike Stein, who was actually a client of yours, he recommended that I talk to you and hire a business coach. And that's exactly what happened in 2017. Obviously, I brought on your services. And you and I joke about this all the time, but I still remember that first conversation in 2017 with our goal setting. So, I had just completed a year of doing 30 million, was projecting the next year based on the market conditions that, I'd be happy if I did that again. So I said, okay, well, let's set a goal of 40 million. And of course, that wasn't good enough for you. You had said, well, why stop at 40? Why don't we shoot for 50? So, you remember I begrudgingly agreed, oh, sure, okay, let's do 50. I probably rolled my eyes at you and not really believing that was an attainable goal, because I thought 30% increase would have been a really good increase. You were asking for 60. So here we go. We're into 2017 now. We're going into 2018. And sure enough, end of 2018, lo and behold, we closed 47 million and 100 units that year, 105 units. So the fact that not only was, we worked on a lot of systems through the year too. I mean, we spent the whole year working on analyzing, tracking, measuring our progress, measuring where the business was coming from, and putting systems in place to make that data more attainable, and more importantly, systems to make our workload more efficiently. And really from that, directly, attribute the growth in 2018 to those systems being in place. But more importantly, setting a goal way outside of what I would have challenged myself even. I mean, 40, I wanted to do 40 million and did 47. No, we didn't get to 50, but we got to 47, which was fantastic. So that was a great end of that year. And then here we are again in 2018, having our goal setting for 2019. So, okay, I remember having this conversation because I knew the market was going to slow down. I said, okay, Steve, if I can get to 50, maintain that number, thinking that I was probably going to, get more like 40 and, 100 units, I'd be really, really happy. And you said, you called BS on me again. And you set that level at 70. And so, okay, all right, I get it, Steve. We'll go to 70. That's fine. And sure enough, same conversation through the year, same measuring, same challenging, same refining. Now we're at the end of 2019, and we have just done 59 million and 120 units. My best year yet. Again, it's important to note I didn't hit the 70 million, nor did I hit the 50 million that we had set the years before. However, I blew my own goals out of the water simply by being challenged to do something beyond what I even thought I could do. And that $60 million year, 120 units, again, it's the best I'd ever done. And I really believe in both of those prior years, had I set my own goals and had you even just said, yeah, Mark, those are fine, let's go with those, I probably would have just achieved those. But the fact that we overshot that goal, I think you mentions to me, if we don't get to 70, but you get 60, would you be happy with that number? I said, yeah, I'd be really happy with that number. And sure enough, that's what happened, right? So it was really good to be pushed. And that was another thing where I really found a lot of value in the coaching, business coaching is, we can set limits and we will work to the limits that we set for ourselves. So when we have somebody else, giving us a little bit of a tailwind, pushing us to do better than what we even think we can do, even if it's a goal that seems out of bounds or unattainable, just the fact that you have somebody there, holding you accountable and pushing you beyond that is really, really important. So that takes us now to 2020, which is what really, this was a monumental year for us. This COVID hit, and of course, interest rates dropped below 3%. Never in all the years I've been in history have we seen rates drop this low. So now everybody and their brother is getting a mortgage, and we were beyond busy. I mean, it was Carrie and me and John. We were just grinding every day, just trying to keep up. So end of 2020, we end up closing 346 units for 153 million, almost 3 times my best year, which was just the prior year. And I can say unequivocally that we would never have been able to make it through that year had we not laid the foundation that we had the previous 2 years of all of the systems and all the refining and all the measuring that we had been doing. And all those efficiencies came to full test in that year. And then also last year, we just closed my second best year at 118 million with 254 units. Still a phenomenal year off of our best year, but still by any stretch a fantastic year. And also more importantly, coming out of the year before, recognizing that this whatever limit I had set myself, I think we may even talked about doing an 80 million goal in 2020. The fact that we did twice that number really blew the ceiling off of any limitation that I could possibly put on myself or my team. But also what it exposed was a need for balance Because when you get that type of volume in anybody's business, you're working that much, you have to give something else up. And that what we gave up was a lot of our personal life, just not having the ability to have that work-life balance. So recognizing that from the coming out of 2020, going into 2021, in the spring of 2021, last year, we actually hired our fourth team member, Bahari Kia, who is my loan officer assistant. Yeah. And recognizing that, again, the volume that we are able to achieve almost allowed me the permission to add more to my team, understanding that this would only help us grow further, and that we no longer have to set these limits on ourselves. And I no longer have to set limits on myself as far as how far this business can grow. It really does not have a ceiling anymore. It will grow as much as I want it to grow. And I've got, was able to hire some really good people along the way to help get there. And last year, doing quite a bit of volume, even again, more than I would have ever imagined, it was really nice to have that work-life balance and still be able to achieve a really phenomenal goal. This year starting off really nice. It's going to be a challenging year still, but I've never felt more prepared, more set up for success than I have over the last few years, and all the work that we've done together through your coaching and mentorship, as well as just the growth of our business and all the things that we put in place for our success.
That is fantastic. That's a fantastic story, Mark. And I mean that truly. You guys really dug in and did some fantastic work. And to your point about prepping for 2020, getting the underlying homework done, you guys worked really hard to revamp and realign your workflow processes. And that was a remarkable effort on your part, but it opened some amazing possibilities of what could be done going forward. And I think you hit it just right. Ceilings are beliefs, not facts. And a lot of this is about how do we approach the process as opposed to the process itself. If we approach the process with an open-ended mindset that says, I can get more if I do it a little bit differently, then anything can happen. You can make it be what you want it to be. I think you're right. There is no limit to where you could go. It's all a matter of what you're willing to do to get there. And just ask different questions. So that kind of takes me to another question here. And you've been pushing yourself out of your comfort zone for a couple of years now. And you've been doing it because you chose to, not because you had to. Where do you want to go from here?
Well, really kind of the sky's the limit. I don't mean to sound cliche-ish when I say that, but quite honestly, I don't have a limit on our growth of our business at this point. It really is. We have got all the tools in place now to be as successful as we want to be. So we've really, with my additional staff that I have, and also the fact that volume has slowed down, as it will with as we come out of this pandemic, I've got so much time now on my hands, so much free time to focus on the growth of our business, that really that's kind of where we're heading right now. Is looking to, how can we have to transition, this market's ever evolving. So our business has to evolve with it. We can't go into the same strategy this year that we had even the past 2 years, because we're not going to have that level of volume. So there are going to have to be some adjustments made, but really important. And as we've been continuing to push ourselves out of our own comfort zone, that really recognizing the limitations that have come along the way, and really in my story, like I mentioned, first two of the limitations that I dealt with was actually some had to do with the employer I was working for, and in the system I was working within was being somewhat restrictive. And of course, the other component of that was my own limitations that I was setting, and you kind of recognizing that there's a lot of things that can limit your growth and limit your success, and just not being satisfied with the status quo, but really and pushing yourself. And sometimes it is a leap of faith. I mean, I will tell you that when I got into this at the very beginning, I had no idea what I was doing initially. I had to learn from scratch, quite literally. But if you do stay that course and really believe that, I say believe that, and also surround yourself with good people. Competent staff, good advisors. These are all things that have added and benefit, are direct, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Direct results of where my business is now is the people I've surrounded myself with. So it's really important to note that. And again, this year, we are looking to try and get 100 million in sales. And it's going to be a challenging year to do that. And but I think it's something we can do now. I mean, I really believe it's something we can do because of the fact of what we've done the last couple of years and the foundation that we've laid. So,
what impact has all of this had on your life and your family?
Well, I could say, as far as our financial goals, for long and short-term financial goals have been met, having a couple of banner years like that, certainly got us caught up in a lot of areas in my financial planning as well as my retirement planning. A little step closer than we were a couple of years ago as a result of that. But more importantly, with bringing on our new assistant, we've also found a lot more balance. And so not just with work, but also with our outside work, our family life, vacationing, all those things that were impossible to do over the last couple of years. And more importantly, with just Carrie and I running the business, whenever we would leave the office, our whole business left with us. So having somebody now, addition, watching the shop while we're out, is really important, and it's given us just a lot more peace, both financially as well as within our family and spiritually. We're really in a good space awesome. with all of this that has transpired.
Awesome. So, what final thoughts would you share to anybody that's either a commissioned salesperson or a business owner? How should they approach their job? What should they be thinking in order to get the most value out of the work that they're putting in?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, well, as commissioned salespeople, we're all business owners, and we need to treat our business such, just like we were running our own operation. Now, again, I don't own McLean Mortgage, but I do own the Bragaw team. And it's important that I treat my business that way. Take ownership at everything you do, and recognize, like I just described, any of the self-limiting behaviors that you may or may not even be aware of. Surround yourself with good advisors, with good coaches like yourself that can help you identify some of those limitations. Because again, without the people that I put around me, I would probably just be trucking along doing average work, maybe an average loan officer, not necessarily taking the business to the upper thresholds and upper where we've been. So really, that's it. Take ownership in what you do. Surround yourself with good people, and don't limit yourself.
Very good. Very good. I think that last little bit is perhaps the most important thing that we can do, is forget the limits, get the beliefs out that limit us, and go for whatever number we don't believe in, go for it.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much. This has been Mark Bragaw with McLean Mortgage, and he has shared with us an awesome story about some awesome accomplishments over the last couple of years. So thank you very much, Mark.
My pleasure, Steve. Thank you.